II Men were once the epitome of harmony, redefining R&B in the 90s with their unforgettable ballads and silky vocals. Their story is one of raw talent, undeniable success, and sadly, fractured bonds. While the group was basking in the glow of platinum records and Grammy wins, one member's journey took a drastically different path, a tale of hidden pain, personal struggles, and heartbreaking betrayals. Let's take it back to where it all began. Philadelphia's High School for Creative and Performing Arts was a hub for budding talent. In one history class, a young Nathan Morris was caught singing instead of paying attention. When the teacher demanded silence, he sang louder, a rebellious streak that would set the stage for a life in music. That same day, another student, Marc Nelson, joined him in song, creating an impromptu duet that would eventually lead to a lifelong friendship. Over the next few years, Nathan and Marc formed several singing groups before teaming up with classmates Sean Stockman and Wanya Morris. Together, they created a group called Unique Attraction. Street corners became their rehearsal spaces, but it was the school's boys' restroom, with its perfect acoustics, where their sound truly came to life. One day, as they harmonized to New Edition's Can You Stand the Rain, another student, Michael McCary, walked in. The moment he added his deep bass voice to their melodies, it was clear he was the missing piece. Without hesitation, they asked him to join, and Mike accepted. The group had chemistry, but something was missing: their name. After tossing around ideas, Sean heard New Edition's Boyz II Men on the radio and suggested it as their new identity. Though not everyone was sold on it initially, the name stuck. Boyz II Men was born, and their journey to superstardom was just beginning. Their big break came thanks to a combination of bold ambition and impeccable timing. In the late 80s, Michael Bivins of New Edition was hosting a showcase in Philadelphia. Boyz II Men weren't invited, but that didn't stop them. They managed to secure backstage access and decided to seize the moment. In a room filled with stars like Will Smith, Keith Sweat, and Kid and Play, they performed an impromptu audition for Bivins. The room fell silent as their harmonies took over. When they finished, the crowd erupted in applause, and Bivins was intrigued. Although impressed, Bivins didn't immediately commit. Instead, he handed Nathan a hotel phone number and left for Los Angeles. But Nathan wasn't about to let the opportunity slip away. He called Bivins relentlessly, proving his determination. After weeks of persistence, Bivins finally agreed to manage the group under his new entertainment company. However, not everyone could move forward with them. Marc Nelson, who had been with the group from the start, was under a management contract with a local company. When his manager refused to release him, Marc had no choice but to leave Boyz II Men. Despite the setback, the remaining four members, Nathan, Wanya, Sean, and Mike, moved on, and their lineup was solidified. Under Bivins' guidance, Boyz II Men signed with Motown Records. To stand out, Bivins crafted their preppy, polished look, cardigans, bow ties, and clean-cut charm. The aesthetic paired perfectly with their smooth vocals and dynamic stage presence. In 1991, their debut album, Cooley High Harmony, was released, with hits like Motown Philly and It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday. I hope it's worth all the wait. The group quickly rose to fame. Their blend of doo-wop and contemporary R&B captivated audiences and catapulted them to superstardom. By the following year, the album had gone platinum, cementing their place in music history. Success didn't come without hardships. While the group thrived on stage, tragedy struck during a tour stop in Chicago. Their road manager, Roderick Roundtree, was fatally shot in a shocking act of violence. The devastating loss forced the group to step back briefly, grieving before returning to the spotlight. Despite this setback, Boyz II Men persevered, continuing their meteoric rise. Their tight-knit bond and unmatched talent made them unstoppable, but the cracks in the foundation were beginning to form, cracks that would eventually shift the group's trajectory forever. As Boyz II Men climbed higher in the music world, their sophomore album, 2, released in 1994, turned out to be an even bigger success than their debut. The record's lead single, I'll Make Love to You, broke records. staying at the #1 spot for 14 consecutive weeks.
I'll make love to you like you want me to, and I'll hold
Only to be replaced by their next hit, On Bended Knee.
we go back to the day that was.
Their heartfelt ballads and flawless harmonies struck a chord with listeners, solidifying their reputation as the kings of R&B. But while the group was enjoying unparalleled success, Mike McCary was battling a secret that he kept even from his closest friends. During performances, he began experiencing severe back spasms, later diagnosed as scoliosis. Determined not to let his struggles interfere with the group's momentum, he pushed through the pain, often leaning on his cane, originally a stage prop, but now a necessity. As the group's fame grew, so did Mike's condition, though he refused to reveal the full extent of his struggles. Meanwhile, tension within the group was bubbling beneath the surface. Fame, as it often does, brought with it inflated egos and creative differences. Producer Dallas Austin, who worked on their debut album, later revealed that the group had changed drastically by the time he returned to collaborate on their second project. According to him, their newfound fame had made them difficult to work with, and they clashed with producers, including Babyface, who penned the now iconic I'll Make Love to You. Despite initial resistance from the group, the song became one of their biggest hits, proving that even behind-the-scenes drama couldn't derail their success. At least, not yet. By the late 90s, Boyz II Men had released multiple chart-topping albums and singles, collaborated with music legends like Mariah Carey and Michael Jackson, and even opened their own recording studio near Philadelphia. But their relationship with Motown Records was deteriorating. After the label released a remix album without their consent, trust between the group and their longtime home eroded. Despite producing critically acclaimed albums like Evolution, which went platinum, Boyz II Men eventually parted ways with Motown. As the 2000s approached, the group began to struggle with changing industry dynamics and internal challenges. Mike's health continued to decline, and his absence from rehearsals and performances became more frequent. Unbeknownst to the others, he was dealing with an even more serious diagnosis: multiple sclerosis. The disease, which attacks the protective covering of nerves, was slowly taking its toll on him physically and emotionally. Keeping his condition a secret, even from his bandmates, Mike distanced himself from the group, leading to further tension. When he finally revealed his diagnosis years later, the revelation came as a shock. The group had tried to accommodate him, even offering him a stool to use during performances. But by 2003, it became clear that Mike could no longer keep up with the group's demanding schedule. His departure marked a turning point for Boyz II Men, as the group that had once been a harmonious quartet was now a trio. After Mike's departure in 2003, Boyz II Men tried to adapt, but his absence left a noticeable void. Mike had been more than just a bass in their harmonies. He was a cornerstone of their identity. The remaining members, Nathan, Wanye, and Sean, pushed forward, releasing albums and performing as a trio. Yet, their sound and public appeal had shifted, and so had the music industry itself. The 2000s ushered in new trends, leaving Boyz II Men struggling to regain the heights they once dominated. Meanwhile, Mike's life took a downward spiral. At just 28 years old, his multiple sclerosis diagnosis had already changed everything. He endured not only the physical toll of the disease, but also the emotional weight of his struggles. His marriage to his wife, Venus, began to crumble under the pressure. After 14 years together, Venus filed for divorce in 2007, further isolating Mike from his family, including his 3 children. During an emotional interview with Iyanla Vanzant, Mike admitted that the separation from his kids broke him. He shared that his ex-wife had severed all communication between him and his children, leaving him feeling just like a man with kids rather than a father. In the years following his departure, Mike's relationship with his former bandmates became increasingly strained. Though they had supported him financially even after he left the group, there was a lingering sense of betrayal on both sides. When Mike expressed interest in rejoining the group in 2012, the remaining members were open to the idea, but insisted on a contract that would protect them in case he left again. Mike hesitated, and the talks fell apart. The bond they once shared seemed irreparable. That same year, the group received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, an honor that celebrated their groundbreaking contributions to music. Mike attended the ceremony, sparking hope among fans for a reunion. But it never materialized. Despite the public gesture, the emotional distance between Mike and the group remained. In interviews, Sean, Nathan, and Wanye expressed that Mike's spot in the group would always be open, if he could fully commit. In 2016, Mike publicly opened up about his battle with multiple sclerosis for the first time. His candor shed light on the struggles he had silently endured for years, but it didn't mend the fractured relationships. By then, Boyz II Men had carved out a new chapter as a trio, continuing to tour and release music. Though they no longer dominate the charts as they once did, Boyz II Men remain an enduring symbol of R&B excellence. Their harmonies still captivate audiences, and their legacy is firmly cemented in music history. As for Mike, his journey stands as a poignant reminder of the personal toll that often accompanies fame. His struggles with health, family, and betrayal paint a bittersweet portrayal of a man who was both a vital part of one of the greatest groups in music history and someone who had to find his own path when the spotlight faded. What do you think about the story of Boyz II Men and Mike McCary's journey? Let us know your thoughts, and thank you for watching.